We are live. Hello and welcome to Autonomous Developer Office Hours. And today we're hosting the first workshop in a series of workshops planned for the Autonomous Aurora Buildathon and Hack Secret 5 Hackathon that we're running with our partners, Secret Network, throughout the month of February. My name is Emil. I'm a Developer Relations Manager here at Autonomous Network. And the topic of today's workshop is building on the Autonomous Network, AI 3.0 infrastructure. And today we're streaming to a wide range of platforms, Autonomous YouTube, X, and LinkedIn, but also Secret Network's Twitter, DoraHacks event page, and DoraHacks Binance. So those of you who are already following us across our social media might already be familiar with some information that I'm about to present, but hopefully it will help you to connect some dots between the protocol and building on the network. And for those of you who haven't heard about the Autonomous Network yet, or only getting familiar with us, welcome aboard. Hopefully you'll find this session useful and leave it with a desire to learn even more and start building. So this session is going to be the intro to all the things autonomous. Before I talk about our consensus mechanism, I just want to share the brief of history of the project. The history of Autonomous traces back to its origins as Subspace, founded by Jeremiah Wagstaff and Nazar Makrinsky. In 2018, the research focusing on solving fundamental issues in blockchains was initiated, and by 2020, active development of the protocol had begun, transitioning from theoretical research into practical implementation. We've been running various testnets from 2022 to 2024, and the mainnet phase 1 was launched on November 6, 2024. We've built the Autonomous Network from the first principles to simultaneously achieve scalability, security, and decentralization. At its core, Autonomous Network implements a novel storage-based consensus protocol that separates consensus from execution. Autonomous's protocol uses the consensus mechanism called Proof of Archival Storage, or POS. Proof of Archival Storage ensures that the data is stored in decentralized, redundant, and permanent manner. And each node stores provably unique pieces of data, ensuring the integrity and availability of historical data. So instead of relying on miners like Bitcoin or stakers like Ethereum, proof of archival storage participants or farmers they store and prove that they have copies of blockchain history. What it leads to? So first, it of course ensures that the blockchain history is always available. It also prevents the data loss and manipulation. It's also much more decentralized than traditional storage methods, and it's much more energy efficient compared to proof of work. But also, it also supports AI and large-scale data storage use cases. And unlike other protocols, the storage that farmers dedicate on the Autonomous Network is a useful storage. So this storage could be used for for building decentralized applications. As for the setup time, our node is super easy to set up. We have ultra-fast proof generation time of less than 1 second and an ultra small proof size of less than 1 kilobyte, and a very fast verification time of less than 0.01 seconds. Kind of one of the additional benefits of a storage-based consensus, other than it being eco-friendly and energy efficient, is a low barrier of entrance. So all you need to get started as a node runner, so as a farmer, is a 4-core CPU, computer with the 8 gigabytes of RAM, and approximately 200 gigabytes of storage, 100 of which will be used for for the node data, and 100 gigabytes as kind of useful storage for the farm. And this low barrier of entry means democratized participation, which leads to a truly decentralized network. So unlike proof of work, where you first could run it on the consumer grade GPUs, then you have to upgrade to the professional GPUs, and then can solely mine it on ASICs. The hardware requirements stays the same no matter the size of the network. This leads to a much more decentralized network with no security compromises. But while we won't be focusing on running a node today, I just want to highlight that installing the farmer application called Space Takers and starting farming on the network takes less than 10 minutes. And if we take a look at the telemetry map, we'll see a lot of these purple dots. And when we talk about the truly distributed network, we mean it, because each of these dots that you see on the screen is an actual PC running our farmer node. So you can find Autonomous Network nodes on practically every continent, with the major concentration in North America, Eastern and Western Europe, and APAC. But we also see some nodes in Australia and New Zealand, and we have to be a bit better on marketing us in some regions like Africa and South America. So let's have a look at kind of what's the consensus mechanism proof of archival storage unlocks. Of course, for it being permissionless, so you don't need to buy any tokens to get started. All you need is just install the application and get started. So it's truly permissionless. It's very, very accessible with a super lightweight farming and a storage-based consensus. It leads to unprecedented decentralization and a vast permanent storage available for builders. And with the dynamic cost of block space, and what I mean by that is that when there's a lot of storage available, it means that it's very cheap for developers, so it attracts more developers to join the network and start building. And once we have more developers building on the network, we see much more demand in the data, so the farmers are more incentivized to join the network, to pledge a little bit more space, and this results in this flywheel of supply and demand of storage, and usage of the storage by developers. And kind of another thing, and with the proof of archival storage, we've solved one of the biggest challenges in a decentralized network, and that's ensuring that every piece of data, every transaction, every block remains verifiable and permanently available. So there is no more central points of failure and no more lost history. But storing the data efficiently is only half the battle. But the real question is, how do we process and compute the data in a way that scales without bottlenecks? And this is where Autonomys introduces another groundbreaking innovation, decoupled execution. So traditional blockchains architectures require all nodes to execute every transaction, which limits scalability and increases hardware demands. And Autonomous' decoupled execution resolves these issues by splitting execution from consensus. So we designed the network to be lightning fast with over 100 gigabytes through output, which unlocks this maze of data uploads for decentralized applications. And with it being ultra fast with up to 500,000 transactions per second, it allows a truly unprecedented, massive on-chain activity. And on the network, we have something that we call domains, and domains are decoupled execution environments, and each domain could have its own runtime and its own VM, so you can practically build anything. And since all domains share security with the consensus chain, it unlocks decentralized sequencing, so all the benefits of the consensus chain, all its security, is still inherited by all its domains, which are supported natively. So there's absolutely no security compromises. And yeah, so why I talk about the protocol, and it's very important to say what Autonomous is building and what this technology is being used for. So the major turning point came when the team realized that the blockchain alone wasn't enough. As AI advancements accelerated, the connection between decentralized storage, blockchain security, and AI infrastructure became very, very clear. And Autonomous is uniquely positioned as a foundational layer of AI 3.0, which I'm going to discuss in details a little bit later. And all of that while staying more decentralized and secure compared to proof of stake. And of course, it's much more ESG friendly compared to proof of work, as I previously covered. With the DSN, or decentralized storage network, implemented to support the needs of AI 3.0 applications, and decoupled execution, allowing this eliminate all the bottlenecks and achieve truly massive horizontal scalability. So as of today, we have more than 2,000 nodes running on mainnet, and all our farmers, they plot and pledge over 620 petabytes of storage available for you builders. So what's the AI 3.0, and what do we mean when we say AI 3.0 powered by Autonomous Network? For that, let's briefly cover what we mean by AI 1.1, AI 2.0, and AI 3.0. So AI 1.0 was the centralized ML. So that's when deep learning becomes widespread, as developers are able to build models with the likes of TensorFlow or PyTorch running on cloud computing provided by big tech. Humans are primarily passive consumers of AI technologies, interacting with narrow, rule-based systems designed for specific tasks. So the time of big black boxes, some interesting implementation of AI, some interesting use cases, and then we transition to AI 2.0. So, and that's what we call post-transformers AI, and the time that we currently live in. So, which is a centralized generative AI. So, large language models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, and Claude emerge alongside other generative AI technologies built by big tech. Humans are offered more interactive AI experiences, albeit still through platforms controlled and deployed by centralized entities. And that's where we get to AI 3.0, or decentralized and human-centric AI, which is open, accessible, and collaborative Web3-enabled AI model, app, and agent development and deployment. Decentralization ensures that a transparent, composable, and secure ecosystem where innovation thrives. Humans not only interact with AI, but customize, train, and deploy their own highly personalized autonomous agents to act on their behalf, blurring the boundary between AI creation and AI creator and consumer. And the age of autonomy is the culmination of this paradigm. But you might ask, what are the issues with decentralized AI, and what are the benefits of decentralized AI might be? And we all know that kind of we use LLMs every day, kind of ChatGPT and Claude every day to for our everyday tasks, and we basically experience no issues with it yet. But let's take a look at some of the disadvantages that they have. First of all, of course, it's a monopolization and a data centralization, meaning that kind of you don't control the data that you're sharing with the models. As you know, your data is being used for training newer models, and you have absolutely no control over it. And of course, the data centralization means that only a very few companies in the big tech who have access to this massive GPUs and data centers can be the providers of that information. And having too much power is never good. And of course, there is always a lack of transparency and accountability. What if you shared some sensitive information and then you will see that it's being leaked somewhere? There is absolutely no way for you to track it, whether these data providers, so this LLM providers, use that information or share that information with anyone. So we have absolutely zero ability to track this data, and there is absolutely no accountability, as I mentioned. Inequitable access. So these big providers, they can decide on their own whether you will have access to these resources or not, and you might be discriminated by the color, by the country you live in, by your gender, etc. So kind of inequitable access is one of the biggest disadvantages of decentralized AI. Depends on a single entity. So with only a few big providers, your data and kind of all of your models are never safe, and it's never a good idea on just rely on a single provider. Of course, there is no flexibility or adaptability, with it being a bit more focused for the general needs. And it's of course there is always an issue of censorship. So there's no prevention mechanism of anyone being blocked from using this centralized AI any day. And we've already seen the history where countries also limit the access to these resources, with an example of Italy blocking DeepSeek because DeepSeek couldn't prove kind of what how they store the information that the users provide. So here is kind of some of the issues with the centralized AI, which could be resolved by the decentralized AI. And here is where kind of Autonomous comes into play. And Autonomous DEI stack include a bunch of solutions to the problems that I mentioned before. Of course, in terms of dApps, dApps and agents, they benefit from familiar execution environments like EVM, access to on-chain data, decentralized sequencing, and permanent data availability and data access. In terms of execution, the horizontally scalable modular execution environments tailored to specific application needs, they enable the fully decentralized kind of execution. In terms of consensus, it's being data-fueled, permissionless consensus right by consumer hardware leads to a truly decentralized network. And in terms of storage, it's a globally distributed permanent storage, allowing massive data uploads and access to the AI workloads. In terms of the roadmap and where we currently are, we have 3 phases of launch. So on November 6, 2024, we launched mainnet phase 1, and the mainnet phase 1 is where farmers began contributing storage and securing the network via Autonomous' decentralized storage architecture, ensuring data permanence and consensus for the network. In the next couple of months, so by the end of Q1 2025, we are planning to launch phase 2, which will add the domain-based execution, enabling horizontal scaling and the ability to process multiple AI tasks in parallel. We already have domains or execution environments running on a testnet, but by the end of by the end of Q1 2025, they will be coming to mainnet as well. And closer to the end of the year, in the third quarter of 2025, we will be launching phase 3, or a full modular compute integration. And this phase will unlock the network's full potential for AI training, inference, and real-time data processing. Okay, so now let's talk what's in there for builders. So we've discussed the protocol, the roadmap, what are the ideas, and kind of what are we building. But what's in there already for developers, and how developers can already use the tools that Autonomous has built. We have a dedicated developer hub, which is available for learning more about building on the Autonomous network. It's available via the link develop.autonomous.xyz. With the on the developer hub, you will see a dynamic IDEs available for you, so you can start learning and building without leaving the web pages. We'll also added example use cases and example applications, so you can review and learn from. And documentation is divided into 3 sections that we're gonna have a look at, which are the Auto EVM, Auto SDK, and Autonomous Agents Framework. For the Auto EVM is the EVM-compatible domain. So all the existing dApps can be deployed to that domain without needing to make any changes. Developers can use the same Solidity smart contracts, wallets, and tools that they're already familiar with. And unlike typical layer 2s, which sometimes rely on off-chain computation and rollups, AutoEVM operates as a native execution domain on autonomous decentralized consensus layer. It's secure and ultra-fast, with the faster block times and higher transaction throughput, and with the lower gas fees. It's also have safe or multi-sig available. So this is a feature that enhances security by requiring multiple approvals before executing transaction. So instead of relying on a single private key, Safe allows multiple users or devices to collectively sign transactions, reducing the risk of unauthorized access or loss of funds. And it also have XDM or cross-domain messaging enabled with consensus chain. Currently for the testnet, but during phase 2, it will be available on the mainnet as well. So if you're building the application with features of both EVM domain and consensus, there is a native cross-messaging channels enabled between them. We also have Auto SDK, and Auto SDK is a powerful toolkit of JavaScript and TypeScript packages for developers to seamlessly integrate with Autonomous Network. It has modular architecture, so you can only use the packages that you need. It's super easy to use with the high level of functions, and it has different packages like Auto Consensus, which is dedicated to interacting with the consensus layer of the network. It also have Auto Drive package, which unlocks the decentralized permanent storage and has all the tooling that you need to utilize the data storage of the autonomous network. And we have a separate package for the Auto XDM. So XDM is the cross-domain messaging between the EVM domain and consensus chain. And it will soon have additional functionality to support managing decentralized identities. For the Auto Drive, we not only have the Auto SDK package, which unlocks this decentralized storage and building decentralized applications using decentralized storage, but we also have a front end dedicated to it, and which is accessible to you via AI3.storage. It's super convenient to use, and you can think of it as some sort of like a Google Drive, but built with the permanent decentralized storage. So you can see you can use OAuth and sign in with the Google and Discord to get access to it, and it has fully kind of web browser support for uploading the data, uploading the files, storing them, accessing them, and sharing them. And all the data that you upload to AutoDrive can be encrypted for privacy. So every user can choose between, storing the information openly or privately. It allows you to store, share, and download files securely with the autonomous decentralized permanent storage. It also handles the large uploads very, very efficiently, because the large files are getting split into smaller chunks and creates IPLD DAX. And each file has its own CID, very similar to IPFS. So if you have experience building with the IPFS, the transition to AutoDrive won't be very painful to you, but you will immediately see the benefits, because unlike the IPFS, there is no pinning needed, because every file uploaded once to AutoDrive is accessible forever. And of course, something very exciting that we've been working on is the Autonomous Agents Framework, which is a framework for building autonomous AI agents. And that's an experimental framework for building agents. Currently, the framework supports agents that can interact with social networks and maintain permanent memory through the autonomous network. It allows the autonomous social media engagement with all the storage utilizing, with all the agents utilizing the auto drive as a storage. It can be very transparent to see what your agents is performing like, what was the thought process behind every decision that it made. So it's very, very traceable and verifiable. And it has an extensive tool system for you to start to build an agent up to your needs and with your specific design. And we already have two autonomous agents deployed on the Autonomous Network. They go by the name Argument and Agreement, and you can see both of them just being live on Twitter. You can access one with the x.com 0x argument, and another one with the via x.com 0x agreement. They demonstrate the power of on-chain agent memory and importance of verifiable AI interaction. And as social agents, they engage in conversations on X and permanently archive their interaction history on the Autonomous Network. And we have a dedicated portal, which allows you to go and see and check the application memory for both of the agents and see all the decision-making process behind them. And the Autonomous Agents Framework has, of course, dedicated page on the Developer Hub, and it's super easy to use. So you can probably start building your own agent in under 10 minutes. You can pull the repo, just install a few packages, and you should be able to get a start and running. It has a full integration with the autonomous DSN layer, so decentralized storage network is accessible to the AI agents. It has an X integration, so your agent can be performing various actions across X, like following different people autonomously, liking the posts, but also reposting information, reposting their thoughts, and just interacting with the users across X. But of course, we're working on more use cases and more integrations, and we're already working on 2 integrations for Slack and Gmail. So the Autonomous Agents Framework will be adding more integrations very, very soon. Going back to our amazing Hack Secret 5 hackathon, Autonomous is sponsoring 2 tracks. And first track is Unstoppable AI Agents with the Autonomous Agents Framework. So basically, every agent that you build with the Autonomous Agents Framework is eligible to get a reward for the track 1. And if you can come up with the interesting ideas, interesting integrations, there will be absolutely perfect example of such a submission for that track. And for the track 2, we've named it Built with the Auto Drive Permanent Decentralized Storage, which offers and that track is of course for everyone who wants to utilize the auto drive, the permanent storage that Autonomous Network offers for the application of your need. So that could be integration with the EVM application with the use of a storage. That can be a separate application which utilizes the storage. So whatever you can come up with, if you're using auto drive, if you're using the DSN layer of the Autonomous Network, your application will be eligible for that track. And we've dedicated $5,000 in prizes for these 2 tracks. So it's absolutely perfect time to start learning more about the Autonomous Network, start learning more about the SDK, about the Autonomous Agents Framework, and get to build. And to assist you and to inspire you to learn about the network and to build with us, we are hosting a series of workshops similar to the one that we having today. Next week on February 19th, we're going to have workshop first look at the Autonomous Agents Framework, build your own on-chain agent from scratch. This is going to be a bit more hands-on workshop where we're going to be sharing the screens, we're going to be pulling the repo, and basically taking you through every step of deploying your AI agent on the network. On February 25th, we're going to have an in-person workshop at Hacker House during ETH Denver, which will be also streamed across our social media. And that's going to be the workshop Autonomous 101, Intro to the AI 3.0 Infrastructure Stack. On February 27th, Autonomous 102, Using the Auto SDK for Permanent Distributed Storage. And on February 28th, Autonomous 103, Building Unstoppable Agents with the Auto Agents framework. So yeah, a lot more exciting workshop to come in February, in the upcoming months later, of course, as well. So really exciting times for us, and we cannot wait for the applications that you're going to build as a part of these two tracks that we're sponsoring on the Hacks 3.5 workshop. That's probably all the information that I wanted to share with you today. So that's kind of was the intro to all the things autonomous and how our protocol relates to building on the Autonomous Network. Hopefully you'll now feel kind of inspired to start learning more and building on the network. But of course, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to take them and answer them. So we are, as you can see, we're tracking the questions coming from YouTube. But we might also see the questions coming from from some other platforms as well. So let me just have a sip of water. Right, at the moment, I see only one question from Roman Pereira. And what's the difference with Airweave or Filecoin? And this is a great question. And there is, of course, kind of a bunch of difference. To be fair, I haven't built with the Airweave or Filecoin, so kind of some information that I provide might be kind of super spot on. But there is a bunch of differences and coming from both kind of being a farmer or being a node runner on these networks and building on these networks. So kind of from the farming perspective, I can say it's much more easily to get started because you don't need to purchase any tokens to get started with the network, with it being fully permissionless. And the application that we have dedicated for farmers called Space Acres is very easy to run. So it literally takes less than 5 to 10 minutes to get started, and it usually takes kind of less than a day or a day to plot all the to create all the plots, and basically you'll be fully farming on the network. So it's very easy and with the low barrier of entry. I tried running some of the other nodes of the projects like Airweave or Filecoin before, and I can say it's definitely much more complex. So it requires a lot of knowledge around using the terminal, using Docker containers, and getting started with them as a node runner is definitely has kind of much higher kind of barrier of entry, which kind of affects the on how decentralized the network might be, how many nodes there are, and how unstoppable that network is. As I mentioned, we have more than 2,000 nodes on mainnet, so we are proudly call ourselves one of the most distributed networks out there. So that kind of different between from the farming perspective. From the builder's perspective, I would say that it's first of all, it's once again it's super easy to utilize kind of all the tools that we've built. AutoDrive, which comes with both kind of front-end integration and the back-end integration through SDK. It's never been as easy to use the decentralized permanent storage aspect. So it's very easy for you to integrate your applications and build your applications with the use of this massive kind of storage available to you as a builder. But also it's a truly decentralized and truly permanent. So you can definitely say that once the data is uploaded, the storage fees will only be paid kind of one time, and the data that you uploaded will be available to you pretty much forever. So kind of there is not a lot of projects that might say the same. So the data that is uploaded to the decentralized storage network of Autonomous is truly permanent. I also have Jim, the head of community team, here with me, and on the backstage. Sorry to pull you, to drag you up on stage, Jim, but if you have anything to add to that question, I'll be happy to invite you to join me on stage. If not, that's also okay. I can just skip to the next question.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not wearing my usual Autonomous top. I wasn't expecting to appear, but yeah, I think everything you said is right there, Emil. I think I would have gone straight in really, with a big difference being, of course, that Autonomous uses data. The data that's being stored as fuel for consensus. Excuse me. So more space makes that consensus stronger. So it's not a burden. It actually is our fuel. And the second thing that I'd probably highlight is that the subspace protocol has been designed and implemented from the ground up with decoupled execution. Those domains kind of integrated and designed from the start. It's designed from the ground up with scalability and decoupled execution in mind, rather than having it bolted on at the end. So yeah, I think you nailed it. We could probably do with having something in our docs, which is great, isn't it, to kind of surface that as a comparison between the different projects. So yeah, thanks for the question.
Good idea. Yeah,
I'll go back off stage. No problem.
Thank you so much. Okay. I see a lot of people are excited to see Jim. All right, do you have any other questions? Yeah, we do have a piece of feedback from Blockchain Oracle, who built an absolutely amazing submission for the Auto Horizon Challenge, saying AutoDrive is awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for Blockchain Oracle. Yeah, I would also think that it's building on AutoDrive is absolutely incredible experience. Yeah, I see a lot of love in the chat, a lot of great comments, but no other questions. All right, if there's any other questions, as usual, you can reach out to us across our social media. So we're always reading all the chats on Discord. We have dedicated developer chat available for you. So if you're wanting to build and participate in a hackathon, it's a great place to get started, to just get familiar with what other developers are inquiring about, or maybe even team up with someone and build the application collaboratively. We also have a dedicated developer chat on Telegram. So if you are more of a Telegram user, also feel free to stop by and ask any questions about the Autonomous Network. On the Developer Hub, there is also AI widget. So if you're, sometimes people, they are a bit shy to ask some questions, but no one is ever shy on chatting with the AI bot. And this AI bot knows pretty much everything about the Autonomous Network, as it collects the data across all our learning resources. So yeah, if you have any questions that you want to ask with AI bot, please go ahead and use our developer hub to ask these questions. But as we wrap today's developer office hours, I want to take a moment to acknowledge how far we've come together as a community. The launch of Mainnet Phase 2 is approaching, and with it comes incredible opportunities for builders like you to pioneer the future of AI 3.0 and decentralized execution. Some key takeaways from today's call. Hackathon with Secret Network, which is our first kind of hybrid online and in-person hackathon, with prices up for grabs for creative ways to harness both network storage and unstoppable agents framework. We're having Hacker House at ETH Denver. So we'll be absolutely excited to meet you in person and together build something absolutely amazing. And what's next? If you're a builder, now is the time to dive into our tools and start experimenting. If you want to be a part of the Autonomous Buildathon, make sure you're following all the announcements because more exciting workshops are to come. If you join us for ETH Denver, let's connect in person. Details will be dropping soon. But of course, you don't need to wait for any other announcements. Just reach out to us via Discord and Telegram. We'll be very, very happy to chat with you and meet with you. And of course, join our friends from Secret Network for their workshops. More information about the workshops that they are running is available on DoraHacks page. But until next time, stay decentralized, stay creative, and thank you for building with us. See you next week.